Thank you, child.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Film Archives. And in today's episode, we're diving into one of the most wild and messed up horror flicks I've ever seen, with a twist that has stayed with me ever since I saw the movie originally. Today, we're talking about The Skeleton Key, or as I like to call it, how to get cursed for believing in hoodoo and being pretty much way too helpful. Let's get into it. The movie starts off with an introduction to our main character, Caroline Ellis, played by the amazing Kate Hudson, who you may recognize from my most favorite movie of all time, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. We see that Caroline has quit her job at the hospital/nursing home and decides to take up a job as a hospice aide in an isolated plantation house in the deepest part of the Louisiana bayou. Sounds like a great idea, right? Who wouldn't want to work in a spooky mansion with an old woman and her paralyzed husband? It's basically the definition of a creepy job interview. Also, let me just say that this movie has some of the most beautiful on-set locations I've ever seen, having been shot in the real Louisiana bayou. Just take a look at this. Wow. Breathtaking, simply breathtaking. Enter the Devereaux family. Violet, the eccentric old lady, and her husband, Benjamin, who's mostly paralyzed after having an apparent stroke. Oh, and there's also their estate lawyer, whose name is Luke, who just seems way too eager for Caroline to take the job. Suspicious much? But Caroline says yes because why not? It's a great career move, right? Surely nothing weird is going to happen here. So Caroline, being the super curious person that she is, decides to go poking around the old attic in the mansion where Violet's husband, Ben, supposedly had his stroke. And what does she find? Oh, you know, just a secret room, a skeleton key, pretty badass, and a bunch of ritual and hoodoo paraphernalia. No big deal. Nothing screams normal like a bunch of creepy hoodoo stuff, right? And of course, Violet, the old woman, is all like, oh, you found the secret room? Well, let me tell you a juicy backstory. Turns out the house originally used to belong to a family of servants, Mama Cecile and Papa Justify, who were super into hoodoo. Which, if you don't know, is a kind of folk magic that's basically the southern version of Don't Mess With Me or I'll Curse You for Life. You know, basically just magic. Magic. Violet explains to Caroline that the servants, Mama Cecile and Papa Justify, were actually lynched and hung, rest in peace, for having performed a hoodoo ritual on the two children that they were in the care of, which is not good. It's not good at all. It's not good. But yeah, they performed a ritual on the two Thorpe children, and Violet and Ben later bought the house from the Thorpe children. Or did they? We'll find out. Violet then tells Caroline that they keep no mirrors in the house because they see the reflections of Cecile and Papa Justify in all the mirrors. Suspect? Yes, very sus. Very sussy baka. Caroline then discovers an old record in the attic, which is labeled The Conjure of Sacrifice. And this is a recording of Papa Justify himself, rest in peace, recording a hoodoo ritual. So it's very spooky shit. Who doesn't want a soundtrack of their demonic ritual? Am I right? Am I right or am I right? It's literally Papa Justify just chanting some creepy spells. You know, nothing to worry about here, though. It's all just a record. Who even listens to those anymore? So Caroline, being the logical person that she is, of course, decides, hey, maybe a trip to a secret hoodoo shop hidden inside a laundromat can help answer some questions and explain some things. Yeah, sure. Why not? This place has everything you need to fight off curses, including the weirdest lady ever. But it works. Caroline performs a ritual, and suddenly Benjamin can move his hands. Again, progress. or is it all just in his head? So Caroline then tells Luke that she's suspicious of Violet, but he remains skeptical and kind of plays it off. They travel to the gas station that Caroline previously noted was lined with brick dust, which she was told was a hoodoo defense. Supposedly, no one that means any harm can pass the brick dust line. So it's like, you can't come past. Ye shall not pass type of moment, She asks one of the gas station proprietors, who is a blind woman, about the Conjure of Sacrifice, which she learns is a spell wherein the caster steals the remaining years of life from the victim and kind of causes like a Freaky Friday situation where you do like a body swap. It's not good. It's not good. At this point, Caroline is full on convinced that hoodoo is real. Caroline fears that Violet will soon cast the spell on Ben, who is, paralyzed, just to steal his life, because she is unaware that this is a Freaky Friday situation. Type deal. Caroline then notes that Violet is actually unable to pass over a line of brick dust that she laid across one of the house's doorways, which confirmed her suspicions of Violet being kind of a little bitch ass. To this point, she incapacitates Violet and attempts to escape the house with Ben, but she finds that the front gate is chained shut. What would a spooky mansion be without having the exit gate locked, right? It would just be a regular spooky mansion. We can't have that. Oh, snap! The plot thickens. Stay tuned. So now it's showdown time, baby. Let's go, baby. So Caroline then decides to hide Ben, which is super stupid, and then travels to Luke's office, the estate lawyer. Luke, at this point, is revealed to be an accomplice of Violet, which is just some straight up bullshit, guys. Luke then promptly brings Caroline back inside the house, which is not good. Not good at all. I mean, just take a look at this. Caroline manages to escape and gets into a brief scuffle and a fight with Violet. However, as Violet is an older woman, Caroline just completely overpowers her and throws her old ass over the stairs and winds up breaking her legs, which is very terrible. I mean, just take a look at this. Brutal stuff, guys. Brutal stuff. We then see Caroline run throughout the house, throwing brick dust lines all over the place in order to kind of ward off Violet. And at this point, we see that Luke, the estate lawyer, can also not pass over the brick dust lines, which brings up some questions, guys. Who really is Luke? We'll find out in just a little while. Stay tuned. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Caroline then manages to make her way up into the attic, which is a very stupid move. You never want to go up, you want to go outside and possibly just jump the fucking gate, but whatever, we're gonna let it slide because this movie is actually quite good. Caroline, now being in the attic, calls 911 and her roommate Jill, who is a very minute side character, for help, and casts what she believes is a protective spell. Violet, with her broken ass legs, manages to catch up with Caroline and reveals to her that she has actually trapped herself inside a protective circle that only Caroline cannot leave. So, not good. She basically drew a circle that she can't get out of, which is in mind games on another level on Violet's side, So it's like, that's that old age and the wisdom showing here at this point, which is pretty cool stuff, guys. I mean, just take a look at this.
My child, I believe you broke my legs.
Yeah, she's old as hell. We then see Luke, the estate lawyer, make his way up to the attic, and he plays, you guessed it, the record, The Conjure of Sacrifice, which is insanely scary. We then see Violet push a mirror towards Caroline, which reflects the original owners of the house, and then it even reflects Mama Cecile. So at this point, we can surmise that Violet is actually Mama Cecile somehow. Basically, through the Freaky Friday conjuring of ritual type situation, she has just been stealing people's bodies and transferring her soul into different people in order to live forever, essentially, which is pretty scary. It's not good, I'll tell you that. We then see the mirror collide with Caroline and shatter. Rest in peace, Kate Hudson. It's a wrap for our girl Caroline. Her soul has been swapped with Violet. So Caroline is now inside Violet, and Violet, aka Mama Cecile, is now inside Caroline's body. Freaky Friday situation, right? Am I right? Am I right or am I right? Violet is then in fact revealed to be Mama Cecile, who had been occupying Violet's body through the ritual of conjuring. However, she wakes up in Caroline's body and force feeds Caroline, who is now in the old lady Violet's body, a potion or, you know, some sort of concoction that induces a stroke-like and, I don't know, paralytic state, very similar to her husband Ben's. So she can't move, she can't speak. Very bad news. At this point, like I said, rest in peace, Kate Hudson. You're dunzos. She's cooked. She's freaking cooked, chat. She's done. We then find out that Luke, the estate lawyer, has actually been Papa Justify all along. He arrives upstairs and hands Mama Cecile the potion, and it is revealed that Mama Cecile and Papa Justify have pretty much been conducting the conjure of sacrifice on new people since their supposed deaths when they were lynched for conducting the ritual on the Thorpe children. Turns out they have just been body swapping and stealing people's bodies ever since they conducted the ritual on the original Thorpe children. And since hoodoo is only effective on people who believe it, Mama Cecile and Papa Justify had to wait for Caroline to come to believe through her own investigation. Flashback to her going up into the spooky attic. She should have just never went snooping around and she probably would have been fine, but rest in peace, our girl Kate Hudson, guys. The emergency services arrived the next morning since Caroline did call them, which is weird that they arrived the next day, but it's fine. This movie's amazing, so we're going to overlook that detail. And they take Caroline and Ben away, who are both obviously trapped in paralyzed and now dying bodies, which is very crappy. They take a look at each other and they kind of share a moment of silence, you know, since Ben was actually the lawyer Luke and Violet is actually now Caroline, but, you know, they don't have their bodies anymore. So, yeah, again, rest in peace. We then see Caroline's roommate Jill arrive, and Luke explains to her that the family has actually left the house and their estate to Caroline, ensuring that Mama Cecile and Papa Justify will continue to occupy and haunt the house, essentially, for God knows how long. God knows how long. So yeah, The Skeleton Key, a movie about curses, body swapping, creepy-ass hoodoo, and a lot of weird, unsettling stuff. It's like a southern gothic fever dream with a sprinkle of voodoo. So yeah, if you're into spooky plantain houses, creepy old ladies, and body swapping shenanigans, this one's for you. Just make sure you never take a job as a hospice aide in an isolated mansion, okay? Lesson learned, guys, lesson learned. So, was The Skeleton Key worth watching? Yeah, I think so, yeah. I saw this movie originally back in the 2000s, and I've never once been able to forget the crazy twist in this movie because when I first watched it, it literally blew my mind. So if I haven't already spoiled this movie for you, definitely go give this one a watch. All right, thanks for watching. That wraps up this video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, remember to hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe for more movie madness and breakdowns just like this. I upload new videos every single week. And let me know down below in the comments, would you take that job as a hospice aide in a random isolated mansion in the middle of the Louisiana bayou? Or would you just run screaming from the plantation? Let me know down below in the comments, guys. All right, much love to you all. I appreciate everybody's support, and I will see you next time. Bye.